Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to do a bit of weapons testing on some of the various weaponry in Battlefield 2042, because some of you out there may think you know what the attachments in this game actually do, but the fact of the matter is that the game actually lies to you. So if an attachment tells you that it lowers your rate of fire, and it shows you that both in the tooltip and in the rate of fire counter for the weapon, it may be complete and utter bollocks. And honestly, I'm extremely surprised to learn of the results I'm going to show you guys in this video, and the fact that DICE simply haven't fixed them yet. And we'll get to that later on in the video, but to begin with here, I'm going to go through all of the weapons that I've found that have something wrong with them, and just give you guys a heads up that they may not be doing what you think they are. Before we begin though, as always, if you do enjoy the content, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future Battlefield videos. Thank you guys for your support, as always. So let's begin here with the MTAR, and this is actually how my testing for these weapons started. I was messing around in No Name's aim trainer here, preparing for my Vault weapon video that I released a few days ago, and when I started to mess around with the MTAR, even though that weapon wasn't actually featured in the video, I discovered that despite the fact that the heavy barrel is supposed to increase the range of this particular weapon, it actually decreased it. So I posted this over on Twitter. From the video footage here, you can see that with the flash suppressor, I'm able to kill this guy with 5 bullets up to 50 meters. When I equip the heavy barrel, however, that should increase the range. It should increase the range that I can kill that guy with 5 bullets, but it actually decreases it in this particular situation. Not only that, but the heavy barrel also reduces the rate of fire of the weapon. And whilst the tooltip does correctly indicate that the heavy barrel reduces rate of fire, the overall rate of fire number on the weapon doesn't change when you go and equip the heavy barrel, but you can still obviously hear it in game. So after that, I started to look into some other weapons. Here's another example, the PP29. So this weapon with the extended barrel, according to what the tooltip tells us, should reduce the rate of fire. Although you can see in the background here, I'm flicking back and forth between the regular barrel and the extended barrel, and I mean, you can just hear it. The rate of fire is exactly the same, so it's obvious to me that the heavy barrel is not working as intended. How long has that been the case? Honestly, probably since the game released, since the PP29 released along with it. Here's another example of the same thing here. This is the SVK, and it has the same issue with the heavy barrel as the PP29, but only when you use a specific kind of ammo. So you can see I'm testing here in the background with high power ammunition, and you can tell that when I equip the heavy barrel, the rate of fire is reduced in accordance to that, and it's working as intended. However, as soon as I go ahead and I equip the standard ammunition, the rate of fire decrease is completely lost, and the heavy barrel has absolutely no effect on rate of fire whatsoever, just like with the PP29. Here is yet another example with the VCAR, so the standard barrel, you can hear the rate of fire there. Switch to the extended barrel and it clearly states that it reduces the rate of fire, but you can hear that that is simply not the case. Now here's another strange thing that I've never really fully understood. Let's look at the portal assault rifles here. So as you guys know, one of the new class proficiencies for the assault class is extra magazines. If you spawn in with the M16A3, you have 310 rounds in reserve. However, if you spawn in with the ACWR, you only have 270 rounds. And it simply gets worse from there. The A91 only has 248 rounds. So does the M416. And at the worst end of the spectrum, the MTAR and the AEK 971 each spawn in with 217 rounds. Does that really seem fair? The AEK gets 217 rounds in reserve, whilst the M16A3 gets 310. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I'm a game developer or a designer. I don't know the reasons they did this, and maybe there is some sort of balance to it, or method to the madness, as it were, but I would guess that because the M16A3 is one of the first Vault weapons that made it to the game, perhaps they decided that that weapon was going to have this amount of rounds in reserve, and then they've steadily reduced it, thinking it was a little bit too much, but DICE simply neglected to go through all of the prior Vault weapons and change them in accordance. And that's not all either. You'll often notice that when you select certain drum magazines or extended mags, and you go to equip those magazines on your weapon, they will display the wrong ammo count. Also, the AC9, one of the newest SMGs in the game, for that particular weapon, the standard ammo rate of fire is 980, but if you equip the standard extended magazine, that actually lowers your rate of fire to 880, but it gives you 10 extra rounds, and that is the trade-off, and that is intended. However, the weapon does not indicate this. It doesn't tell you that it lowers your rate of fire, and it does not indicate on the rate of fire marker that the weapon has actually lost any rate of fire at all. Which means that most players out there are simply going to equip that extended magazine thinking, well, if I don't lose any rate of fire, what have I got to lose? And not realizing that their weapon is actually dropping 100 RPM. Now, I know what a lot of you guys are thinking right now. What's the big deal, Ghost? These are only small things here. They're not having a massive effect on the game. But the fact of the matter is that if I didn't notice these things about these weapons, and I'm, delving deep into Battlefield 2042 on the regular, checking out weapons, and I've only just discovered these things, most average players out there are not spending time in No Name's aim trainer testing out the weapons. Most of those people are not even watching my videos or weapon guides. They're just jumping on Battlefield 2042 after a hard day's work or a hard day at school and playing a few rounds. And if the only information on the guns and the weapons in the game is what is displayed in game, you better make sure that that is correct, because it's those numbers that make people decide exactly what attachments they're going to equip. And if some of those numbers are completely inaccurate, then it's obviously influencing which attachments those people equip. Now, I'm not trying to make this a whiny video or trying too much to take a shot at DICE really, but really this is pretty poor play from them. I've honestly felt that when the portal weapons, especially in the game, release, players, YouTubers, streamers, we often pick up on bugs and things that could have easily been rectified within a day of a patch being released. And it makes me wonder how much weapon testing actually goes into these weapons before they're released. If I've been able to discover some of these things messing around for about half an hour in a test range, where couldn't DICE do the same before they release the guns? In any case, hopefully DICE will see this video, they'll fix the problems that I've outlined here, and who knows, maybe sort of have a look internally at the way they test their weapons and why some of these things are going wrong, because I think that the intended rate of fire changes here should be affecting these weapons. Sometimes they just obviously plug the wrong numbers into the wrong attachment and things get a bit switched around. I think that's definitely the case with a lot of the weapons in the past. How many times have we read a patch note and seen that one of the guns in the game now has the correct headshot multiplier? Sometimes they give an assault rifle that should have a 2.15 times headshot multiplier, the SMG headshot multiplier, or the LMG headshot multiplier. They give it the wrong multiplier, and it usually takes them a patch or two to realize that that's a problem. Usually they get told by the community, in fact, and then they rectify the problem. But some of these things, especially with the PP29, weapons that go back all the way to the release of Battlefield 2042, I'm honestly rather shocked about. So hopefully DICE kick things into overdrive with their weapon testing. Hopefully they're going to rectify some of these issues. Let me know down below, guys, what you think about this. Do you have any more weapons with oddities that you know about? But otherwise, thank you for spending your time with me today. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.